Previously on the Curse of Silverthorn. Well, the story is about a man called William Kendall. And he's been hired to escort Sir James, the Tower of the Gilded Bear, and Tallinn Tilstone, and the mysterious Elithir Selethian, who may or may not be human, they're up a river to a place of silver, and everything will be fine, and would have been fine if it weren't for those pesky flying imp-like things that we've been debating exactly what they were. But there's some sort of magical, elven, cruel creature ambushed us, and we pulled in for the night, and I made some very nice stew, and Elithir lost a knife. The excitements. Someone tripped over. There was a bit of an argument, and the boatman, would you believe, the boatman who brought us here have sailed off. They've gone back, leaving us stranded. So William very sensibly said that what we should do is wait for the next boat to come along and pick us up. But oh no, apparently what we're going to do, because these nobles think they know it all, is going to carry on foot and follow the river upstream. There you go.
And that is where we are at the moment. So our heroes are walking along the bank of the river, trying to get to the Cragway Watchtower, which is a watchtower situated right on a kind of, gorge or crevice in a very steep kind of mountain range that actually used to once upon a time block the water, but now the river has broken through and then worn a deep gash in it, creating one of the few more easily accessible entry points into a valley beyond, and where Silverton is located, and that's where you're headed towards. And as you're walking along, they are also joined by Fintred, who is said to be the scribe of the Count that has hired these heroes, and he is just complaining. Blasted things, I can't believe I have to walk all the way. I never know what's going on. The boatman should be hanged. It's terrible. And there's an awful smell in the air. Elithir, did you wipe yourself?
Yes, I did.
Leaves.
Come on, chaps, keep up. We're striding manfully in this direction. I hope it's the right direction. William, are we going in the right direction?
If you turn a bit to your right, sir, then that'll be right, yes.
Oh, good. Just point me there and we'll get there. Keep up, everybody. Bring the stuff, William.
Any other comments before I trigger something?
I want to wander over to Fintred, and I put my arm around his shoulder in a slightly bullying way, and take his hand. And whilst doing so, I'm trying to gauge his physical stature and strength. But looking into his eyes, I say, "Tell us a bit more about your job. How do you fit into this?"
Well, I'm a scribe for the Count, as you can imagine. In fact, you can almost say that the Count relies on me for almost everything. And you could also almost say that I basically run the county. Everything falls on me for it, and the peasants I have to deal with always such trouble. I don't know how I have to deal with William, broadsword, especially that Aelith and Ariel and that they're all very odd. All very odd.
So Fintred, what kind of trouble are they? Is this something we could maybe help with further down the line?
Well, they get pregnant an awful lot. I've noticed that.
Okay.
But
so that's the only trouble, they get pregnant.
Well, there's that, because, more mouths to feed, and you have to... Do you realise all the follow-on effects that happens when peasants fall pregnant? Then you need to clear more lands to till. You have to make sure there's food for them and everything. And then you have to make sure they build houses for them all. And then you want to keep them... You have to... oddly enough, they seem to actually do what they're told when they're happy. And so you have to provide them somehow to make them happy. And so it's an awful business.
Have I been able to ascertain anything about his strength and fitness?
Well, I shall roll a perception for you, sir, but you will be able to be assisted, or I'll give you a bonus, based on your skills. So let me look up Talon's. So you're a merchant, but sword and buckler, and so you kind of know the physicality needed for that type of thing. And so you've got base of 3 plus 2 and a perception of 1. And you got a 1. You got a 1, and so you're kind of distracted more about the odd things he was saying. Just, pregnancy and people, and the way he was waving around his arms and everything, it was just a bit difficult to try and really, is that muscle there or not? Yeah, it was a bit difficult.
Okay.
Alrighty, but as that you were somewhat distracted talking to Finchard along the way, but I'll get everyone else to roll a perception.
So perception, how many dice do I roll?
Base of
5.
3, base of 3
sorry.
plus your abilities, so that'd be an additional 2, and any perception that you have, which is also 2. So 7 dice all up for you, Alethea.
I did 5 hits.
Wow, you got 5. Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm rolling 8.
And successes are on 4.
Yes,
right?
4 and up.
5 as well.
All right. As Talon and Finchard have been talking along, so James has been just you're marching forward, leading the way. It's hard to get lost when you're following a river. But Alethea and William have kind of just been looking at the forest roundabout. Like, odd things have been happening in this forest. And what's interesting, William notices some odd sounds coming from the wood. Like branches swaying in the wind, but a lot more creaking, cracking the sound. And if you weren't paying attention, you probably could have thought it was just part of the rustling of the branches in the wind. But there was an odd kind of distinct prominence to some of those odd sounds, particularly the cracking of a branch. Very soft still, but it was there. Alethea, as you've been noticing, you have just noticed something very, very odd. Coming from the Fae has a different almost atmosphere in terms of just what it's like being in there, and it's like there is a sound of chimes or bells deep in the background and it's not like a ting ting, but it's like a more rhythmic, harmonious, constant tone in the background. But whenever you try and pay attention to listen to it, you can't notice it. It's like when you're not even thinking, that tone suddenly seems to resonate inside you. That's one of the odd things about the Fae. And sometimes it can look like the ground slightly shifts and there's something in the air, there's a tingle. You notice that sound, but you know you're not in the Fae. But you've noticed that. And that strikes you as profoundly disconcerting.
Right. Is there any way, by the fact that I'm a scholar of the Fae, that I may understand, not like exactly what it is, but at least if it's some form of magic?
Oh, roll a perception for that one to see if you... actually, do you have a skill, Scholar of the Fae? Let me have a quick look.
Yeah, it's my...
yes, absolutely. You can roll a skill check or a vocation check on that. So that would be 3 plus intelligence plus your Scholar of the Fae check.
I believe it's a 5 dice check then.
Yep.
No, 6.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Right, okay. Oh my gosh, what is it with me? 1.
1. No.
Wasn't paying attention at school.
Yeah, not this one.
You missed that lesson at school.
I know, it's all the girl elves.
So
with my spectacular roll of 6 then, Chad, am I able to tell if how far away these sounds are coming from?
It seems
and
quite...
whether they are related to our movements at all.
Yes, with that roll you can perceive that. At first it was quite distant, but as you're kind of really paying attention, the next creaking of a branch happened a little slightly louder. And, being an intelligent man, you would know it would only be slightly louder if whatever is making that noise actually is approaching or getting closer to you. And as you're paying attention, the next one, slightly again.
Okay, is it as in up in the branches above us?
Too far away to tell the exact height, but something to actually be knocking aside branches wouldn't need to be too high in this thick woodland. So too tall, meaning.
Do you guys want to maybe alert us to the fact that you've noticed
I'm
something.
listening. Do you
Oh,
mind?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I do.
Consistent to something swinging through the trees like a gibbon.
Don't know. Not sure yet.
I don't know.
But what you do hear, you perceive the slightest thump with the sound.
Like a gibbon falling out of a tree.
Could be, if that's what you think.
Okay.
Why a gibbon of all things?
Why not? I suppose. You know.
Why not? I suppose. Shad, do I feel in danger? Do I feel like it's a dangerous sport?
You haven't heard the sound. What you actually noticed was that odd, kind of fey-like sound. And if anything, it makes you feel a bit more relaxed and at home.
Okay.
Okay. Am I carrying too much stuff to get my bow out without stopping and putting all the stuff down?
I shall roll. You're decently laden, but not too much to be able to put things down and quickly get the bow ready.
Okay, right. I'll get out the bow and knock an arrow to it and walk along.
So
Keep up,
guys,
chap.
there's something making a weird noise in this wood. It sounds like bending branches, I think, in the upper trees, but it's definitely coming closer.
Right, William, I'll come back because
Do I have a direction?
point me in the direction. You know.
Chad, do I have a direction that's coming
yes,
closer?
you do. It behind you, but deeper into the forest. Like a kind of like if this was the line of the river, it's off in the forest. You know, from that direction. Everyone roll a perception again.
With a clear arm movement.
Okay, and then after we roll the perception, I wish to speak to the party. Okay.
Roll perception to see if anyone picks up anything. So I'll roll for you, James. So James.
I'm good with perceptions, apparently. I'm not good with Scholar of the
Am I
Fae.
rolling again?
So I've got 4 successes.
And I'll roll for you, Tallinn.
There you go, it's a gibbon!
So,
I only got 3 that time.
well, 3 was the challenge level, so you succeeded matching it. You all actually, not only do you hear kind of a thump, creaking of the branches, but you actually, it's like you could feel it in the ground almost. And the thumping is rhythmic and consistent, like a thump, thump.
Consistent with footsteps of a very, very, very large gibbon.
Yes, consistent with footsteps. Fincher goes, "What are the blazes is that? You hear that?"
I'm making sure that my sword is loose in its scabbard, and I'm pulling the spear, which I previously mentioned actually in the first session. I'm pulling my big spear out.
So James is ploughing into the foreground, sort of telling everybody to get behind him and get ready. Somebody's coming, and he's probably going to shout, "Who goes there in the woods? Show yourself and show your colours." At the top of his voice.
So you've stopped walking and you've kind of turned to look in the direction.
So reorientated ourselves, and I'm focusing quite closely on the area where I think the threat is coming from, and standing in a guard position and shouting challenges.
I'm ready with my bow, using Sir James as cover.
Good.
As you stop and you're waiting kind of nervously, the sound and thumping is getting bigger and bigger and louder. And now it almost sounds like tree branches are being snapped and pushed aside. And with your perception that you're looking in the direction, you see some trees over kind of thing, like the movement in the forest swaying. And there's even a large roar / guttural growl just suddenly resonates in the air, just like big.
Gentlemen, we may need a tactical retreat. I'm not sure what's coming.
Are we walking on anything resembling a path?
There's enough room on the side of the riverbank to consider that you're not having to stumble over a lot of stuff, and there's not like an embankment that just falls off and then trees. There's a bit of room where you are at the moment to be able to move around. You're looking at maybe 10 foot abreast at the widest points.
I was just thinking, if a giant were to walk this way and want to just get past, would we be standing in his way, standing where we are?
Quite likely.
Okay, I look where would be more convenient for the giant.
So, how does everyone else react to that sound? That just
I think we need to readjust the martial front that we've adopted and try a flanking attack.
What
So we'll
Not sure attack is entirely necessary, sir.
defense then. Flanking defense. We'll move out the way.
Man, with
We'll
your
move out the way.
diplomatic skills.
Alethea, could you roll a Scholar of the Fae check?
Can
And
I?
what? Scholar of the Fae, yeah.
I'm positioning myself behind a tree trunk, with my spear in the direction of the noise, but I'm very much hiding behind a tree.
5 successes.
All right, Alethea, when you heard that guttural sound, you recognized it instantly. Now, what's interesting, usually high elves are actually very secluded in their cities in the Fae, and they don't interact or have to try and survive the Fae wild nearly as much as your wood elven kin, who are far more uncivilized, and some don't even speak language. They're very uncivilized tribal, people, far more numerous than the Fae, and the high elves are actually quite even rare, even in the Fae, but you've been fascinated by the world you've lived in for a long time, studying the strange creatures that live and are amongst you and are somewhat related in different ways, twisted and warped by the nature of the world that you live in naturally. And you have studied such a creature, though never really seen one yourself, but the writings and accounts that you have shared, being able to talk with some of the wood elves and everything like that was most definitely an ogre.
An ogre, okay.
An ogre. And you know what ogres are. They are not good. They're usually about 12 foot tall, hulkingly, when I say muscled, it's like, when you see someone who's really strong muscled but also fat, and so you can't see the definition, but they're just wide everywhere. They're like that, with these rotund bellies, short like their feet. Their legs are usually shorter in circumference to their whole body, but also round, kind of like elephant feet almost. And their faces are vicious with these jagged, teeth that are not necessarily pointed, but they use them to great effect, and they're horrible, horrible things native to the Fae. It is very odd that such a creature would be in the realm.
Since they are native to the Fae, do they also have the same repulsion for iron that I have?
Not nearly as much. For creatures like this, it just basically annoys them, gets them angry, and then they seek to destroy the foul smell at any cost.
And what about this situation with my silver?
They like to
Elven-
lick it.
Okay. Fantastic. That they
We could just tie you to a tree as a distraction while the ogre licks you. We could leg it. That's
How is
slightly
that?
out of character.
Go on, Alethea. Take one for the team.
Yeah, take one for the team. What about their weak spots? Do I know about any weakness about the ogres or anything that I might use?
They're extremely dim. You don't know how you could use that to your advantage. They are vicious, bloodthirsty, always hungry, and they have a preference to eat anything that moves.
Right. Anything that moves.
When I say that, basically anything living, so.
Then, yeah.
So, are you going to communicate here any of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm assuming Alethea, when he heard the sound, has just gone pale.
So we know, the rest of us don't even know what one of these is, do we?
No, well, there are certainly tails, but
Okay.
it is when you see it, your character's reaction wouldn't know what it is. Monster names would just fill your mind from far-flung tales, and you'd be thinking troll, orc, ogre.
Can I just ask
dwarf.
how our animals are reacting?
Oh, they are going nuts. They are trying to run and leg it. They're neighing, rearing, and all of the above.
Okay, so I try to get my party's attention, and I say the creature that is coming is not of this world. It is a monstrous giant called an ogre, and it's extremely dangerous. We should not attack.
Fincher just goes, "By God's tits, I might not have believed you 2 days ago, but seeing as we were attacked by strange flying things, I'm not going to bet anything. I say we run. I say we run.
Elithir, what's the nature of this creature?
As far as I understand, they just want to eat.
How big is it? How big is it? Can we take it?
No, massive. 12 feet tall, probably.
No chance of combat with it.
Yeah, no. As I say this, I take up my sword and I try to wear quickly my breastplate.
Would it feel better to get on your destrier, sir?
Dungeon Master.
I will. Well, I'm worried that there isn't maneuverability in the woods, and a horse in the woods. I could get a lance. I don't know whether I don't know what the landscape around me is like. I mean, I could get on a horse and try lancing it.
You can take my spear. I'm holding it.
Okay.
Well, I'll be ready with another one, sir.
Chad, can you explain what the landscape? Would the landscape be plausible to ride a horse and attack it with a lance?
If you're going to get on the horse, I think you should do it pretty soon, sir, because she's getting.
Yes, I can get on a horse if you think that.
William was pulled off.
All right, I've got her under control.
Sir James, yes. take my spear. The ogre's that way.
Come on, then. Let's all run. I'll get on the. Shad, what's the landscape like? I don't actually know.
It's enough to actually ride a horse. That is absolutely true. But the horse is incensed. Far more. But having said that, your horse was trained for battle, and so you're going to need to try and make a riding check to get it under control to see if it will do what you say. And also, William, if I could get you to do a check as well to see if you've managed to hold on to the beast. So okay. It'll be 3.
After giving my spear to Sir James, I am making my way towards my pack pony with all of my goods on it and looking for any possible avenue of exit.
Your pony is trying to run. It's not been trained for combat, and so it is far harder. So you got a 4. You actually you managed to hold on to it remarkably, William. You managed to keep the horse from bolting. And so James, have you mounted your horse? Yes. All right. So I have.
Yes, I've got on the horse and I've taken up the spear. I prefer my lance, but a spear will do, couching it. And I am trying to find a route. And I'm shouting at the others to, I'll buy you some time. Why don't you get out of the way? I'll try and distract it. I will charge at it. I'm saying this as I'm trying to control the horse. I will charge at it. I will try to lance it. But if I can't or it doesn't do the job, I will try to distract it with my horse's speed and get you out of the way and then rejoin you.
As you command, Sir James. We'll do what you say.
I'm ready with his 2 spare lances.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm not sure I'm going to have a second go at this. I might just try it once. And I am going to aim my spear at his eye.
All right, Elithir, what were you doing?
I'm picking up my silver sword, and I try to wear my breastplate.
Yeah, getting your breastplate out. All right. So
he's carrying an iron dagger, but doesn't know it.
As you get ready for whatever is coming, the sound getting louder, the thumping get louder, but now resonating and causing the ground to nearly shake. This hulking monstrosity suddenly bursts from the trees onto the bank of the river, and it is horrendous. Pale, sickly skin, bald, and these jagged teeth with large arms, but like short, stumpy legs, rotund gut, and it just makes this guttural scream, and it is holding a tree trunk in one hand. And it is 12 foot tall, ripping, and it literally burst and ripped up trees, everything. And as it lands on the riverbank, it just growls and roars and then looks directly towards you. And this is something that many of you would have never seen. This is wow. This is wholly different. So I'm interested in your character's reactions when you see this thing.
Well, I'm just spurring at it because this is like something out of a dream for me. It's an absolute challenge, and I'm shouting the gilded bear at the top of my voice, which is his battle cry, and he's just going to have a go at lancing it in the face. I basically got into a bit of a sort of, I don't know, fury of excitement at a big foe. I don't know whether the horse will be fine. The horse will be fine. I won't charge directly at it though. I'm charging off to one side, and I'm going to lance it as I go past. Is it left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. So it's carrying the tree in its right hand. So
Yes.
I will try to pass on its left-hand side and spear it through the left eye if I can.
The eye seems to be a bit too tall for like I don't. 12 foot. Would you? You would know actually.
It would be you'd be going up. You'd be up at an angle, but I think you could do it because I'm typically 8 foot high. My head would be 8 foot on a destrier. So 10, 11, 12. It's 3 foot above me. So it's a different angle than I'm used to. Normally for people, it would be horizontal. So it is it's a slightly awkward thing, but it's actually very doable. And I doubt he's going to dodge.
So they certainly Lancers used to attack people on elephants' backs, so that would be similar.
I think it's doable.
All right.
Depends how long's your spear? Probably about 9 foot.
Yeah, about that. Well, yeah, about 8 foot.
8 foot. So I've got the range. If I hold it at one end, I reckon I could have a go. But I'm not going to charge into it and then engage it in melee combat. I'm just going to have a go and distract it, and I'm going to keep riding past it. If I fail to engage,
I love this. I've no idea.
I'll just mention what I'm doing because it's fairly simple. So I had initially been thinking about escape whilst Sir James charged at the beast, but now I'm realizing that escape is not necessarily an option. But I'm more concerned about the fact that the horse might run away with all of my gear on it. So I'm now frantically trying to tie the reins of my pony to a sapling so that it can't run off with all my stuff.
Wonderful. Well, you certainly need to. You get to trying to do that quickly, which is basically going to take your action for this round because we are entering into round by round combat and declaration phases. And so, depending on who has the lowest reflex, the ogre actually would have the lowest reflex by far, and you all then get to kind of respond. And the ogre is pretty straightforward to see exactly what its intent is. It sees this shining, figure on a knight just running towards it, and it just thinks, well, you can't really tell exactly what it's thinking, but it just responds directly and is just barreling towards you in response. It's got its club, a tree trunk in the air, and it's getting ready to just do a big, massive swipe. So you can see the direction in which it's coming. If you can get in fast enough, you might be able to ride, inside its swing, but it's going to take a lot of balls and a lot of speed, but this is, I guess, where it fits your character perfectly. It's just
he's going to go for it. There's no way he's backing out now. This is his moment. This is a moment. This is an exciting moment.
I've made it clear where I am. I've got the 2 spare lances. I chuck them down, get behind a tree, pick my bow back up again, and if I ever see an opportunity for a clear shot, I'll take it.
Finchard sees this and is like, "Yes! Yes, take up arms, I agree! Sir James, I am with you, sir!" And he grabs a sword, presumably from Talon's horse pack. And then he's charging right behind Sir James. And he screams a battle cry. And it is, for the family of Felion, I say! As he charges. All right, so now, that's that. In that round, both the ogre and Sir James have been barreling on a collision course, and they are getting much closer now. And so there's no combat roll specifically for that. You were just both approaching, but now it's the new round. So Talon, you managed to tie off the horse, and Fintrid is running. I forgot what you were doing, Alethian.
I was putting on my breastplate and taking up my sword.
Okay, yes. Putting on your breastplate, it's a bit more fiddly than just doing something quickly in a couple of seconds. So I'd say you're actually still trying to do the straps, and you're almost there, but not exactly. And William, what were you doing again? You were bracing yourself with the bow, I assume.
As I say, I got too close to the trees, and just near the trees, just dropped down the 2 lances, should he ever come back for a second lance. And then, yes, using a tree for cover, getting my bow back out again. Remember, I had my bow out before, but I had to put it down to pick up the lances.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can actually shoot in this round if you wish.
Oh, well, if I think I've got a clear shot, I won't hit Sir James.
Well, Sir James specifically mentioned that he's riding towards the side to try and pass the ogre, and so there is nothing obstructing your, view of the ogre.
If you think that my character's happy,
well, it's up to you, because a terribly bad shot where something might go wrong could send the arrow towards Sir James, or it could send it off in the opposite direction.
3. I've done 3.
What was your total roll? Because you would have. This is a
I rolled
combat
6
roll.
dice.
6
and
dice.
I got average luck, so 3 were hits.
3 were hits. Okay, so the ogre is going to have a combat roll, and the result is going to be dependent on what the ogre's roll is. And also, Sir James, it is time for you to make you reach the distance, and so your roll is going to be 3 plus 2, because you have 1, subtracted from your negative intelligence. You would have had 3, but negative intelligence is subtract 1, and. Also, you get to do your lance skill, and if you would like, you can assist with your ride pilot skill. In actual fact, I'm going to get you to roll a separate ride pilot because your horse now sees the thing, and I needed to just quickly see how it has responded, because it might be interesting. So,
should be okay. If it has no knowledge of what it is, it's just a big moving target. But but roll away, yeah.
Well, the horse is well trained and remains under your control perfectly well, and it is charging as it was always taught to do. And so now I will roll your combat. Okay, so you got a 2. So,
but a really
good 2. So this is how combat rolls. I'm going to roll for the ogre, and your results get compared to one another, and depending on how much who surpasses the opponent's roll is determines what the victory condition is, and then that tells us what results. And so the ogre gets a +3, plus an additional 3 from its strength, a -1 from its intelligence,
and it's frightened of horses.
It's not, unfortunately, no. And so this is oh, interesting. It rolled a 2, surprisingly. So this is the result that happens. William, when you loose the arrow from your bow, what type of bow is it, might I quickly ask? Is this a poundage rate? What do you think would be fair?
I have never specified it on my character sheet. It just says bow.
Yes, so hunting bow, war bow, and if we go war bow, light war bow, heavy war bow.
I imagine it's probably not a stupendously heavy war bow. I imagine it's probably, sort of a pretty mean hunting bow. I don't know, maybe something like a 60-pounder, something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking about 70 pound would be a fair estimate for that bow. All right, so first, as you loose the arrow from your bow, William, it lands very clearly directly on the side of this creature's chest, and the arrow hits and bounces off. It's completely bounces off and
bounces off its skin.
It bounces off its skin. Its thick hide.
That's disappointing.
And so James, as you are riding towards, just aiming at this thing, it swings its tree trunk at you, and you did exactly what you planned. You were riding just fast enough to get inside that swing, and it misses. But you were focusing on riding so much and getting the speed that your lance missed its point and slips and does not connect with the creature. But you do ride past it, and you've survived the encounter.
So I'm on the other side of it now, so I will get sufficiently far away and say, William, you couldn't bring me one of my other lances, could you?
Oh, you still have your lance. You didn't. Sorry, you still have your lance. It didn't drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to step out from behind the tree now, and I'm going to take another shot, but I'll do it as noisily as I possibly can. hoping that this thing is so dim it'll turn its back on a guy charging at it with a lance.
When I see the arrow bounce off the ogre's skin, I say to myself, "Told you so, humans."
Anyway, how's our patron doing? I was hoping that maybe we could, it's a novel way to get rid of a patron, but it could be quite thorough.
So, Fintred is still charging on its way, and interestingly enough, the ogre, as it missed, and sees this one lone, more vulnerable individual charging towards him, saying, "For Lord Count Filion, come at me, you beast! I shall get you in your balls!" And the ogre seems to have zoned right in on him and is now marching on Fintred. As Fintred sees that, he runs, balls this, and he turns and is legging in the other direction. Help me! Don't let the beast get me!
There's nothing a stupid wild animal likes better than something to chase. Perfect.
Perfect for me. So he's got his back to me now.
He does indeed.
So I will reform, recouch, and just aim my lance at the small of the back of his neck.
And you get what is called a flanking bonus in this situation, sir. And so, alrighty, Talon, what are you doing? So, Alethea, you have your breastplate fixed now. It is on. And Talon, you've tied off the horse. What is your exact plan? What you're doing here?
I'm trying to find another pole weapon. Having given away my spear, I'm trying to find the largest weapon I've got in my arsenal.
There are 2 lances lying on the ground near me. I can't be far away.
You find a Godendag, not long, but it has a point on it.
I'll take that.
You take the Godendag. Like, you remember, purchasing this off one of the town militia you passed through. It's like, oh, this is a nifty weapon. Sure, someone will. And you just remember, oh, that's where I got that. Sure, grab that. And so you have that on you as well. And for those of people who are watching who don't know what a Godendag is, it's basically a club, like a decent size, with a spike on the end. And I do have a video on the Godendag if you want any more information on that.
Link in the description.
So as well as doing that, as well as searching for that thing, I've obviously been observing what's going on. Can I ascertain any possible weaknesses to this creature? To do with its I don't know. It's the typical things you might look for with an animal. So it's feet. What's it wearing?
So it's basically wearing nothing. Okay. You can't really see any reproductive organs. So if you're really going to think about it, they're probably inside held inside like many other animals, unless they're getting ready to be used. But you can think about the creatures flopping if you want. But that is usually that's usually a weak spot on creatures, and so you naturally just look in between the legs, like, oh, where's its plumbing? Must be sucked in.
So it's always good to know about reproductive organs. I was thinking more about in this case about its like feet specifically, because it's very tall.
In fact, yes, I shall roll a perception for you to figure this out, and so. Talon, I shall roll 3 + 2 + 1. All right, so the feet don't look to be a weakness. These feet are thick. Okay, look, it's like elephant feet, but with not the stumpy end. They actually do have feet and toes on the end, but they are round. And you also, you were paying enough attention to see William shoot his arrow, and you saw the arrow bounce off the creature's hide. This creature's hide, the way that it rolls, and when it moves its arms, skin naturally needs to roll and everything. The rolls are really thick, indicating that this thing's skin is probably it is particularly thick, and so it's going to be extremely difficult to actually injure this thing through its hide. The main weaknesses that you see is its eyes, and maybe through its mouth, something that bypasses the skin. And so whatever hole or crevice this creature might have could be a way to circumvent that thick hide of it.
Within this action, do I have time to say something to William?
Yes, you do. You have time to scream.
Aim for the eyes! Aim for the eyes, William!
Thank you, sir.
And so
My intention with this round is just to distract it. I was going to just shoot at its face in general, because you might get lucky and hit an eye. But the point is to distract it. The main thing is to keep it looking at me or the meal on the meal on legs. It's a bit closer to it to give my master a really cracking good shot.
Which master?
So James,
The master who's in armor on a destrier with a lance.
Remember who's paying you, William.
Yeah, Sir James.
No, Sir James is paying me, and I'm paying you.
Yeah, so,
you're having an economic argument in the middle of this combat.
anyway, I'm shooting it in the face. I'm rolling.
Just aim at the eyes, God damn it, man!
And I've done another 3, another average luck.
So James, I'm just interested to figure out if your character has noticed something, because something could have come to your mind with Talon calling out, go for the eye, because the eye isn't facing you. And so I'm wondering what your character determines then would be the best target for this thing.
Well, I was thinking of the sort of small of the back of its neck and that sort of that arch bit, but he's pointing away from me. So
I'm going to roll a perception, because you notice the back of its neck has like rolls, and it doesn't have much of a neck either. It's like just head, muscle, fat, and really thick hide. But being on this end, there is something that's a bit more prominently displayed to you, being behind it, which has a chance of your character noticing. And so I'm just going to roll to see if your character does. 3. One thing, it's hard to miss, because when you look at something, there certain things just jump out at you more. And when you rear the horse around to face the creature moving away, you see its large flabby butt facing you as it's marching away. And you have noticed that its skin and hide is very thick. Like you're thinking of hitting the neck, but the neck has muscle and stuff around it. And so I'm wondering if your character might see a target in what is presented before him.
So you want me to lance it in the posterior?
It's not me. It's up to you. That's if you're looking for a target.
Whatever the target seems to make sense. I'm going to try and plunge my lance into its rear. There's no question about it. I will go for it.
Just once or repeatedly?
Yeah. I'm going to stab its bum repeatedly. Yes. No, I just hit it once, really hard. And I did have a strategy, which was I was going to lance it, and then as I went past it, I was going to try and do a backhand strike to its face and eyes with my axe. But I don't know whether I've got the time to do that. I was sort of thinking of doing a hook strike.
What, you mean that move that you're always practicing, sir?
Yes, yeah, the one I'm famous for in tournament. Yes, yeah.
So we have declared what we are doing. The ogre, of course, is just chasing Fintred, and Fintred is just going, "Help me! Help me! I say he's after me!" And is running. So now everyone who is attacking, roll their attack. So Talon, you are bracing yourself with your Godden Dag. Were you going to chase after it, or just kind of get ready?
How far away am I from the ogre?
I would say maybe 30 meters, as it's chasing. It's
okay. It's quite a way. So I'm not gonna run towards it. But I've got some experience coming from the background I do of hunting. And so I sort of decide to start yelling at it whilst walking slowly towards it with my golden dag pointed as a spear towards it, in the hope of trying to turn it around to make it easier for William to shoot in the eyes. I'm very focused on what William's doing at the moment here.
Okay, so you were screaming and making noise to distract it. Was that?
Yeah,
yep.
to try and get it to turn its face to make an easier target for William's arrows.
And so that is actually an assist. You were doing an assist. So could you roll? So what skill would logically apply to this assist? Let me have a look at your character. So you have talent.
Persuasion?
Persuasion would absolutely assist in this. So if you could make a persuasion check versus a challenge level of 3, and whatever dice you get beyond 3 is a bonus to William, but if you do not get the challenge level of 3, that will subtract from William's roll, because you'll end up distracting him as well. And so this is how assists work.
So how many dice am I rolling?
So you get 3 plus 2 plus 1. So that is 6 all up.
Okay. So I'm wanting 4 and above.
Yes.
I only got 2.
Ah. So what this happens is, as you are,
Is that right?
Yes, that is exactly right. Because Talon starts yelling and screaming, trying to get the ogre's thing, and he actually ends up knocking, the end of your bow or your shoulder as you're just loosing William. And so he ends up making the shot worse, unfortunately. And then I will roll for the ogre, which is that. Oh, okay. So your arrow just unfortunately misses completely as you loose it. So, and you know exactly why. Well, you think Talon just hit you.
A little further away, sir.
Yes, fair enough. Sorry, William. Just get on with it.
Sorry, sir.
All right. So now, James, it is your roll, and so you have a 3 plus 2 plus 2, but you also get the flanking bonus. Now, I just want to be exact about this. Sorry if you could just let me take a moment to quickly look up what the exact thing is for the flanking bonus. I would
suggest it's a large target as well. I mean,
it is actually. It's hard to miss, and the ogre isn't actively defending against you, and so you're actually rolling. So when it comes to attacking something that isn't defending against you, it's a static challenge level. Instead, this is essentially how sneak attacks work, if you call them sneak attacks, or if you were to stab someone or attack someone unawares. So even though the ogre got 4 on its roll, that combat roll actually isn't applying to you because it's not actively trying to defend against you. And so now your challenge level is going to be against a static target, because you have successfully gotten behind it. And the static target is big. And so would you say, I would say it's a challenge level 2, or it might even be a 1 because it's a large target. So I would
say, for a man of my skills, that you're hitting a static target that's 4 foot wide.
That is true. The challenge levels are determined not by how difficult it is for the individual character, but by how difficult it is to a regular person, and then your skills and talents add against it. And so that's why I'd say this is still an uncommon task. So that's a challenge level 2. And if I just go to combat, fighting groups, combat actions, armor, weapon, circumstantial variants, 38. This is the Cogent Rulebook that I'm quickly looking up. And if anyone's interested, you can actually get the Cogent Rulebook as an app if you go to cogentroleplay.com. And so, okay, high ground flank. Yes, I was right. Flanking is a +2 dice onto your roll. So to just quickly calculate, this is actually quite a strong setup for an attack here. It's 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus an additional 2. Against a challenge level of 2. And so you are rolling with 9 dice right here. That is your total roll. And so 1, 2. Oh my goodness, that was a horrible roll. I only got 2. So there is destiny points if you want. And so
yes, I need this strike. So I'm going to have to put my Yeah.
So you all start with 3 destiny points based as characters, and so destiny points you can burn to add an additional win to the dice. And so
we need this hit.
This is your moment. This is the thing you've been dreaming for. And so you can burn more than 1 if you like to make the roll higher.
Oh, yes, burn 2.
Burn 2 to get 4. To get 4.
Yes.
Okay, so what happens as you are charging, okay? The horse, rears up and starts to barrel towards it. And unfortunately, this ground is somewhat craggy and stony, being on the riverside. And the horse seems to stumble a bit as it's rolling, but you quickly say, "For the Gilded Bear!" As you're charging, which seems to rally the horse. The horse is just familiar with it. It's fought alongside you in tournaments many times, and it seems to get, heart from your cry, because this is the moment you have been dreaming of. And so the horse might have stumbled in any other moment, but because you see this as your destiny and fate seems to be with you, the horse takes heart and refines its footing, and you raise your lance barreling it, and your lance slips right in between the creature's butt cheeks, directly up its anus.
I somehow thought that might happen. Yeah. Well, it's a good
sanitize the sphere.
I suppose I'll be cleaning that.
Yeah.
The creature, you see the creature as it was barreling, and it suddenly just goes, roar! Like it steps forward, like something happened to it that it found very inappropriate, and it screams in this odd sound of pain, and what it does, it instantly stops and starts to spin. Were you trying to hold onto the lance, Sir James?
It would depend on the nature of the impact, I guess. I mean, I was couching it, but I
suggest that this is a destiny roll moment to determine if you were holding strong to the lance, or if because it was couched, or if you had the presence of mind to. So we're gonna roll and see what happens. 14, which is in your favor, sir. So what that means is, yes, you figured, like, you were trying to do you were trying to ride past it, and as you landed the hit, it actually ends up going considerably deep into the creature's rear end, and there was no way you were going to be able to retrieve it in your riding past. So because you're riding past and you were kind of hitting it, you just raise the lance over your head, and it goes over your head as you pass by it, and you release it because the creature starts to spin and thrash around, it just in pain, and the lance sticking out of its rear end is swinging about wildly. But because you were riding
Gunther!
Thank you. Hi, the Gilded Bear strikes again. Hooray!
Right, I put down the apparently useless bow and pick up another of his lances.
Yes, I'm coming in your direction, so I'm going to get one of those lances again.
Could everyone roll a perception check, just briefly? And so I'll roll for those who cannot roll for themselves. So 3 + 2 + 1,
5.
4. 4 for Tallinn, and okay. So James, you are too distracted by that. What a heroic moment in your life. You have just faced off against a vicious creature. Not only did you dodge its wide, vicious swing with tremendous expert skill. There was no luck involved there. The creature wasn't fumbling or anything. You did that. It was all you. And then you flanked it with perfect precision, like a true masterful tactician, and then you struck it from behind with it being unawares. And this is a creature of myth and legend that you are now on the upper foot. This is the most wonderful time of your life. You're just celebrating this tremendously. So William, I remember your reaction to seeing Sir James landing a lance up there, and but Tallinn and Alethea, what is your reaction to seeing what has transpired?
Bravo, Sir James! Bravo!
Well, I was going to go into stealth mode, so I'm not going to scream. I think it, though. I think it very much.
So, Alethea, if you could roll a perception, but William, Two. Okay, so William is the only one who you're a bit frustrated from your bow getting knocked off, but your senses are heightened. You're paying attention. You are looking for anything. You're getting the spear ready to hand to Sir James, but you've also been very heightenedly aware of everything around you. And in the distance, in between the screams of the creature and stuff, when the sound seemed to have dipped just for a moment, then picked up when another scream rose, you hear rustling in the branches further away of the exact same type that you initially heard. announcing this creature's approach.
I think there are two of them.
Oh dear.
Right, sir. There'll be another one for you along in a moment.
There's two of the beasts! What are we to do? What are we to do? And so Fintred is just like, what do we do? What do we do? Tell me, man! Grabbing onto Talon, what shall we do?
We've got the perfect thing for distracting the second one. The first one. The first one's got a lance up its arse. That's really distracting.
Maybe this is our chance to retreat.
I
second that.
I think we've done wonderfully well here. We've kind of won this bout, but I think if there's another one's coming, I run out of destiny.
Oh, you wouldn't want to be a bully, sir.
No.
That would be unfair for you to skewer both of them, sir.
I agree. It's the honourable thing to go in the opposite direction right now.
A tactical withdrawal, I think, Sir James.
Yeah, reorientation of our objectives and all that. Yes.
Yes, run, I say, run this way, quickly, to the Cragway, it shall protect us. It's a tower there, yes, the Cragway, to the Cragway. And Fintred is just he's off. He's running like a madman. I assume you all are running with him, or what's he doing?
Well, I'm riding. I'm riding.
Normally, I'm a pedestrian, but do I have an opportunity to change that status?
We depart.
Well, I mean, Sir James does have two destriers after all, and I do ride a +1.
I'm untethering my pony.
Yeah. Didn't one of the horses die?
It was a mule that died.
It was a mule that died, and so Sir James has two horses with him.
He had two destriers.
Yeah. Two destriers.
We had quite a few mules, one of which is dead.
And then Talon has his pack horse.
Yeah, and I reckon Alithia is a very fast runner. He looks nimble on his feet. He'll be fine.
So
yes, we're all running in the direction, but I will necessarily take up the rear and chivvy them along as fast as possible. I can always get Talon to grab the stirrup. So if William's on the other horse, basically we can sort of give stirrups to each of the foot, and we can go faster that way. They can be sort of tugged along on the stirrup, if you like.
All right, so
which is fast.
So James suggests this, and who follows suit? Talon, what are you doing with your pack horse, by the way?
Well, I've attempted to untether it.
Yep, it's untethered, but as you're doing it, it is panicking and rearing, and it is not happy, and so you're going to need to try and get it under control with whatever ride skill that you have, which you have one. So there we go. I'll quickly roll for you there.
Can I advise Talon?
By calming my own horse, well, that is to say Sir James's horse, but the horse that I'm riding, I imagine if one horse becomes calm next to another, that might have a sort of...
Yes, you could. You could try and...
Sir James, sorry, not Sir James, Jason, is calmness contagious amongst horses?
Yes, it is. But basically, we don't need that because Talon's horse will follow us. If it's panicking, it will stay with the gang and it will follow us regardless. So I shout to Talon, leave the pack horse. It will follow us. Just keep an eye on it, and it will leg it along with all of us.
As you say, Sir James.
Okay. Shall I make a ride roll?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So that's that, plus that, plus that.
Just to point out, I can ride my pony in an extreme scenario, but I would have to ditch all the things that are on the back of it, and I don't want to do that.
3.
So you're not graceful, but you're managing to stay on because the other horse is following the group, as James said as well, as Jason said, but Sir James said. And so you're all basically running with as much speed as you can. But that can be somewhat, restricted, unfortunately, because some of you are on foot, but you're making as much haste as you can. And so, James, you said that you were taking up the rear to urge them on and also to guard.
I've changed my mind. I'm going to advise them to come to the side of each of us, to William and Sir James, take a horse each, and the foot need to hold on to the saddle and sort of half lift themselves off the ground and sort of be dragged along at a rapid canter. Sort of taking big, giant strides as they go. It is plausible as a sort of means of going faster.
I'm assuming that there is potential risk with that, getting tangled with the horse's legs at all. Is that possible?
Not the legs. It's more about losing your grip, and then it's a bit like running downhill really fast. You sort of can't step fast enough, and you'll fall over.
So
But
would
it's
you?
not that.
So
I've
would
done
you?
it as a kid.
Okay. So would you say it's a common task or uncommon task to try and maintain that pace alongside the horse?
I would say it was common if they've got enough strength.
There we go.
Yeah. And
All right. So I might get whoever. So Talon, are you doing that? And Alethea?
I'll do whatever
follow-
Sir James suggests.
Yeah, I follow his suggestion.
Wonderful. And and Fintred, he's still trying to run forward. It's like he's ahead of you at the moment. Just say run.
Actually, Shad, is it possible for me to ride along with William?
It is. You two are going to try and get on the horse behind him?
Yes, because I do have ride, like
Oh,
horse
very
riding as a skill.
Yes.
So I might as well-
Make a ride check, sir. So it'll be 3.
Can I add my reflex bonus?
Ride is a reflex skill, so yes.
So I roll 5 dice. Actually,
Yes, 5 dice.
because it's 3 plus 1 plus 1.
You got it.
Right. 2.
Uncommon task, you succeed. Barely.
Okay.
It was a bit tricky to get the horse to actually mount it with someone else on the horse. But William, I assume that you're fine with this. You're happy with it. Like you're already helping him,
No,
encouraging
I'm
him.
happy with it, but I'm not going to fight him off.
I say, beg your pardon.
So, as you are now trying to make as much distance as you can, you look back and the ogre has been spinning around, crying in pain and frustration, but it did manage to get its thick, meaty arm around its back enough to finally grab hold of the lance and pull it out. And it looks at it, and just suddenly its face seems to get viciously angry. It's like, and then it turns at you, and it just shakes it, picking up the lance in one hand and the tree trunk in the other, and it is running after you as angry as a bull, just viciously. So I assume that
I keep going.
Yeah, we keep going.
keep
Keep up pace.
Yes.
keep up pace. So what we have now to do is we are in a chase, and in Cogent Roleplay there is a thing called a chase mechanic, where the group collectively needs to make a chase roll, essentially, versus the ogre rolls, and depending on the roll will determine the distance if you get further away or further behind. And so at the moment, the ogre is at a far distance. And so there are 3 distance conditions in a chase. There is far, medium, and close. And each roll will determine if that varies. And so the collective chase roll is actually going to be determined by a number of things. The horses that you're on, ride pilots, negative and things. And so it's going to be the base of 3. You got 2 horses that are helping you out and helping you run a bit faster than normal because the people holding on, so that's going to add an additional 1. And those people riding the horse, you have a ride skill, don't you? So Jason does, Alethea and Kindle, so that's going to add another. How much ride skill do you have? Just between you, it's 2.
I had 2. Yeah, I had 2 in ride. Yeah.
1.
And so if Jason takes the lead, he can apply his ride pilot skill as the base skill for the group role, because he's kind of the most talented in this respect, is guiding people. Follow, exactly. And so that will give us a total chase roll of 6 versus the ogres. And so as you're running, I shall roll your chase. Oh, there was a dice.
I want to plead that having just been lanced up the arse is likely to affect your running speed.
That is a very logical. That
counts as a handicap.
You're absolutely right. That is a very logical argument. So determining the ogre's speed, it's going to have a base of 3. It's a much larger creature, so it naturally gets a bonus anyway, because it's got larger steps. But it also has the pain of having the lance up its rear end, which negates that. And so it's actually a much slower lumbering creature. Now, you rolled a 2 on that dice check that I just rolled, and the ogre rolled a 2. And so, as you're running, that ogre is keeping pace. Could I get you all to roll a perception as you are running, trying to make as much distance between you and the creature as possible?
5.
2. What is it
5.
today with 2s? 2.
I got a 2 for you, James.
Wow. I got 4.
4. All right, so William and Talon, as you're running, I assume you look back periodically just to see how much distance. And this creature is keeping pace with you. It's angry, it's stumbling, but it is red as bull. And behind the creature, by another maybe 20 meters, you see another lumbering creature burst from the trees. And it looks around and it spots you, it spots whatever's there, and it starts running towards you as well. And only Talon and William notice this, though.
Keep running, man, keep running. They'll tire before we do.
All right, so
yeah, we just keep going. I mean,
keep
we
going.
have no.
So
as far as I can...
the new round in the chase roll. So I'll roll for you all once again. And so this time you got a 3, and so I will roll for the ogres. That's the first one, and this is the next one. So, as you are running, that ogre that was injured from the lance seems to start to lag and fall behind, but this other ogre is running faster, and it surpasses the one where it was at. And so this other ogre is even faster, being uninjured, and seems to have been gaining. Now, this is the point in the chase mechanic. You get to try and think of anything that you can do that can either hinder the thing chasing you or help you out, and that can affect the roll that you're doing. William,
I look ahead for a route that we could take that they couldn't, because there's a narrow gap between 2 trees or something.
I shall roll the destiny dice to see. At 11, unfortunately, they clearly could make it through the forest, and at this point, the forest isn't so thick that the trees aren't close enough that they wouldn't be able to slip in between. And that could cause even greater problems for yourself, because you have to deal with the shrubbery and underbrush and roots and things. And so if you're wanting to maintain as flat a footing as possible, sticking with the river seems to be the best option at the moment. It doesn't get worse for you, luckily, but doesn't seem to improve things too much either.
Are we running parallel to the river?
Yes, as best you can.
Okay, well, I mean, I shout out to those men. Should we run into the river?
Ride into it on horses. Yeah, we could do that. But...
They're taller. They're more likely to be able to. Sorry, they're taller. They're more likely to be able to wade than us.
They are 12 foot. Yeah,
that's a very good point.
True, very true. I mean, in my brain, I'm thinking they may be adverse to going into water, but of course, we don't know whether that's the case or not.
Alethea knows, and they are not.
Do I know? Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Do I know?
Yes, Alethea knows, and they're not averse to going in water.
I do say that. They don't mind the water, unfortunately.
It's a non-starter.
What did I do?
We should be able to keep going for quite some time on these horses. And the other ogre wasn't distracted by the one that's bleeding from its orifice.
No, it seems to have just joined in its rage. If anything, it's enraged with it. They are egging each other on by the look of it.
Sorry, my lance up the fundament. Seems to put us in a very good position.
My thinking, based on my hunting experience, is that large creatures like this might be able to run fast for a short period of time, but are unlikely to be able to keep up with us over a longer distance.
Finchard's running. It's like, as he's running, they seem to be rather hungry. Is there anything that we can throw behind it to distract it, give it a snack or something?
William! Throw William back.
I do say.
There's someone in the way, sir.
They won't be distracted by dead meat. It needs to be living. So,
right.
Do we need one? Do we need one of the horses?
But I mean,
we should leave the other chap. The chap that's not member of the party.
I'm also looking for an opportunity for us to split up, and therefore evade it by not all being in one single file.
Considering
as well, but I'm looking for opportunities here.
Are you saying this out loud, William?
So at this point,
No.
At this point, enough time has passed, as you're trying to figure out what to do, that another chase roll needs to be made collectively for you all. So I'll roll. I'm not rolling good for you guys. I got a 2. It's on the camera, okay? I can't help this.
It's tonight.
And so, as you look back and check, that first injured ogre he lags behind even further. He's starting to tire, it actually looks like. He seems to be, revving himself up more, and therefore he's losing energy. But this other ogre is keeping pace with you quite effectively, and it's angry, and it's just screaming. And this one has another tree trunk in its hand, a different tree trunk, but they seem to like tree trunks, these things. And so, all right, so now, luckily, you haven't been able to break free from this creature. It has kept pace with you, but it hasn't managed to close the distance yet. Also, perception check, everyone.
I'm going to count the one on the floor as well because it's a 6.
But if it wasn't, you would have re-rolled, wouldn't you?
You would have never known.
5. Wow, I finally got over a 2.
How many dice are we rolling here?
So it's your perception, which is 3 plus your abilities plus your perception roll. So Talin, you would get 6. So James, it's not too hard to notice. Ahead of you, there was a shallow mountain range not too far away, raising in the distance. But as you've turned a corner in the bend of the river, it's opened up the canopy and the view before you, and you see the Cragway Tower in front of you. And it's not too far away now, actually. It is within reach and within sight. And it is situated high up a kind of jagged stairway up to this watchtower that, one, would be too narrow for these creatures and too high up for them to traverse easily. And it's a stone watchtower with proper, battlements up on the top. But you do remember that whoever was in this watchtower did shoot upon the boat previously. So you don't exactly know what's going to happen, but it certainly is a place that would protect you from these creatures.
You would imagine that if they shoot boats, they will shoot ogres. So, I mean...
It's a good point.
I'd go for it.
I think we just keep going. I mean, we're staying ahead of these ogres as it is, and we're being unlucky, but we are staying ahead of them. I reckon if we keep going, I would have thought Fintrick would have been starting to lag behind a bit. I was wondering about him being edible.
I'll just roll a... So he got a 6. He was ahead of you, but he fell back quite decently to where you guys are at. And I will just quickly roll a perception for him. And he has not noticed anyone holding onto the horse. And so he is running as best he can, but he doesn't get the advantage of holding on. And so depending on your roll, he could lag behind. Depends if one of you either wish to sacrifice him or help the poor guy out. It's up to you. But he says,
well, we're still going.
The tower! The watchtower's in sight! We're almost there! We just have to get there! Soon!
I just think we keep going. I mean, he'll have to kind of keep up, man. Try not to get eaten. That's a good thing.
So,
Good boy.
That's it. 1, 2. Step well. Trip over.
I did the chase roll, and I got a 1. I rolled 6 dice, only 1 win.
Is that for us?
That was for you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I suppose,
The ogre just got 2 wins. That means he closed the distance by 1. And the fresher ogre, who is not injured, got a single win. So at least I'm rolling as poorly for him. So the one that was lagging behind took heart as his friend passed him and caught up to him. But at the moment, they have actually maintained the distance, which is very lucky, because if they got a good roll then, if they exceeded your roll by however many wins, that's the amount of distance they close. And so if they got 2 or 3 wins over you, they actually could have closed the distance in that roll. So you're lucky. But you still managed to get there. It looks like the tower just mechanically is 2 rolls away, which is some distance, like 40-50 meters around there, not too far away, but you're managing to get there. So
is there any space? Is there any space for any maneuvering at all on horseback, or is it is it very narrow? I can't ride around them.
I shall roll the destiny dice to see. and I got a 12, which basically means no great change. There's just enough room to run. Okay, it looks like whoever lives in the tower might actually walk along this path occasionally, which has helped keep it clear from shrubbery and bush and maintain somewhat of a narrow pathway, but it's wide enough to fit you to ride along without too much difficulty. But you're lucky in that nothing bad has in the way, but nothing better as well, because depending on that roll you could have come across a problem. You're lucky. It's perfectly fine, but it hasn't gotten better.
We should keep strategically relocating at this time, in my opinion, gentlemen. I don't know whether anybody else disagrees.
No, I agree. We should continue. Yeah, towards the tower.
All right. So I'm now. So again, no great change in the chase roll. You're running. You're doing your best. The ogres are still doing it, and so you succeeded that next roll. And this is the final roll. Now, finally, those stairways are in sight. But roll a perception to see if you can notice anything happening in the watchtower.
I'm still trying to focus because
Hi.
Lloyd's dream was amazing.
I keep getting amazing perception rolls. I put most of my points into perception, so
5.
my character is fastly perceptive.
Everybody's noticing things.
Three.
So, Talin and William, as you see the watchtower on approach, you notice that there is movement amongst the battlements at the top of the tower. There are 4 men there, and they have bows, and they are drawing them ready to fire.
Are there matriculations on the tower?
What a question!
I love the question, Matt. Thank you, but
That was a great question.
I need to roll to see.
I don't think we're close enough to the tower for the matriculations to be a problem.
That is both true, and unfortunately, I rolled a 3. No, there are no matriculations on the tower.
Are you joking?
Breaks
In
my
a
heart.
show run by you, there are no matriculations.
This tower wasn't built as more recently. It's an older tower where just basic battlements did the job, and so.
Okay.
So we're just hooning along the river side, staying marginally ahead of these grumpy chaps. And I guess we will continue to hoon as fast as we can.
Yep, indeed. So fine. Oh, you got 4 finally. Good. So you take heart. You don't know if these guys are shooting up, who they're shooting at, but whatever the situation is, the sooner you can get to that tower, the better, and a better chance you have. So you all take heart and just run with a second wind, as it were, barreling towards that tower. And the ogres, they kind of, they seem to be lagging behind because they see what's before them, and it's an odd sight to them, and they seem to just, as they run, they're like, huh? They're still like, they're looking up at what's going on. Oh, this is rather odd. But you all manage to reach the stairwell leading up. But now you must make a decision, because it's going to be difficult dragging horses up this narrow, stairwell. Like, it's been carved into the rock face, essentially, that winds in a kind of a zigzag up to the watchtower. And so the horses are going to have a very difficult time trying to get up there.
Is there any stables or something that we can get an entrance? Oh, there you go.
No, I only got a 12. So there is a wooden railing that is being made next to the stairwell that is used to tie off horses' reins to keep them in place, but that might not help them out in this situation with the.
The horses will stay out of the way. If we're taken off their backs, if we just leap off their backs and just let them keep going, they'll stay out of the way of those ogres.
So are we literally at the base of the tower now?
So you're at the base of the cliff. The tower is up these, stone stairs. Now, the horses could perhaps manage to traverse these stairs upwards, but it would be awkward. And Jason, you would have more experience about how do horses going upstairs? Have you ever experienced that?
It depends on the surface, but yeah, they can go upstairs. If they're very steep, obviously they can't. But a horse can get through a door, a human-sized door normally. Obviously not with a person standing. Yeah, I reckon they get up there. So, if there were big zigzags. Yeah.
They're at a 45-degree angle, these stairs, which is a steeper angle than stairs are usually at, but it's a narrow path, about, say, yay big, just enough for a person. So I'm assuming the horse, it's possible, but it would have difficulties. So you would need to try and...
Well, I would say so, yeah. It would depend very much on the...
Time for us to get off. We're going to have to get off on
Oh,
foot.
yeah.
I think
dismount.
So.
I dismount.
Right. He gets off behind, I get off in front, so I'm pulling it.
Yeah, and the horse, we won't have time to take the tack off the horses, obviously, but the horses will scatter, I would guess. I hope the horses are going to be safe, because I'll be terribly upset. Literally, I'll be upset. If the horses
So you're not trying to drag them up the stairs. You're going to try and see if they can flee.
I think we're safer. I think we're safer to let them go.
So I'm gonna try and detach my baggage off the back of my pony at the base of the stairs.
So as you are dismounting, unfortunately, this causes you to pause in your flight, and so the ogres see this and they take heart because they think you've stopped, and so they are barreling towards you with great energy. And I'll just quickly roll. So they got 3. They are closing the distance. So you need to get these horses gone and get up those stairs as fast as possible. You have about one more round of distance. And so you're all going to need to roll an athletics check individually to see how far up these stairs you can manage. And you hopefully will get beyond their reach, because they are 12 foot tall. And when they reach up, they can get another good couple of feet. And so you're needing to run up these as fast as you can while sending the horses away. Talon, you managed to untie certain straps enough. Half of your goods is off the pack mule, but not all of it.
Okay. At which point, my intention being my intention is just to abandon them at the stairs, because I don't think the ogres are going to have any particular interest, and I just slap the back of my pony to make it ride off. No, hoping that I can recover it later.
And Sir James, what are you doing? You're sending your horses off. In what way?
Yes, yeah. I'm just whispering a word of command that I've trained them, which is go and hide in the woods. They are very specifically trained for this.
I'm going to roll Destiny to actually see if that is the case.
Specifically trained.
No, they're not trained with that exact command. But I'm assuming you can just slap it or knock it to get it to run.
No, you just encourage it to go, and it will. Horses will run away from you. Yeah, you shoo them away, and they usually, especially if they're handled well, they usually get the hang of just going away, and they'll see the ogres as well as a threat.
Yes,
and they'll just make their own decisions as well about getting out of the way, and that's what horses do. Horses run.
So you all, those men atop the tower who were, drawing their bows, because you already saw it, you're kind of keeping your eye what was going on, and you notice that they are shooting on the ogres. Arrows are falling near and far, and some miss, some hit, very few seem to stick. But I'll actually just quickly roll. But some do manage to actually stick in and bother them somewhat. So they're like, they start to knock them aside like they're trying to swat flies, and they're looking up frustratedly. Nothing is close to killing them, but it's bothering them and has slowed them down, giving you another round to be able to try and flee. And so all of you make an athletics check. And this check, you're essentially trying to run up narrow stairs. So I'm going to say it's a challenge level 2. Not bad, but if you get a terrible roll, well...
I don't have athletics, but I have dog's body +2, and dog's body's the number of times I've had to run up and down stairs year after year. I did almost nothing else.
I'll allow a +1 dice to your roll from the dog's body.
You're very fair. You're very fair.
So those of us with reflex +1, I imagine, are getting a +1.
Yes, and if you have any athletics skill, you add that as well.
Can I add my blade dance?
Yeah, I'll let you add a +1.
Thank you.
3. So I'll roll for you, Sir James. So 3 + 2. You got a 2, yes. What did you get, William?
I've done really badly. I've got 1.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Let me just quickly roll for Finchred.
I was in front of the horse, though.
You were in front of the horse, so William starts legging up the stairs, but in his haste, he unfortunately slips on one of the sides of the stairs, and I will now roll a destiny to see the result. I got an 18! So what happens is, oddly enough, either Lloyd is holding his pose excellently well or his camera is frozen, but I think he's actually just holding it really well. And so, Lloyd, as you run, you slip, but as luck would have it, you slip back right into Talon, who is behind you, who just grabs you and pushes you forward. It's like, keep going, man, keep going. And you're running up the stairs. And so you're all managed to get somewhat, but you need to make one more athletic checks because that's one round, and you need to pass another round's distance to get out of reach of the ogres who are still under arrow fire, knocking them aside, trying to barrel forward and trying to get you. So everyone quickly make one more athletics check. And so I shall roll for Sir James. Yeah. So James, you rolled a 2. You managed it. Luckily.
I'm always rolling 2. What is it with 2?
I don't know.
2.
Well, with athletics, because I got a 4 again. I got 2 4s in a row.
There you go. So William, what did you get to roll?
4 this time. Oh yeah.
Wow, Fintred got a 4 as well. So William and Fintred, like after William starts barreling up, you reach the first kind of corner in the stairs and you turn around and you start running back up. And at this point, the ogres kind of reach the cliff face and they're hitting their tree trunks on the side of the cliff face trying to get you. But luckily, you have just managed to get out of reach. They are angry as anything, and they are screaming, and they're pushing each other, they're hitting, they're frustrated, and they're just now screaming up at you like you did something horribly unfair. That wasn't how you were supposed to play the game. And the arrows are still falling upon the ogres, and they're swatting them aside, and they're just frustrated and horribly angry. And so now, what are your characters doing? Because now, are you still trying to run, which will require an athletics, or if you slow down and just take your steps evenly, you'll be fine.
We can take our time now. I think we can take our time.
If we're out of immediate danger and it's obvious that they can't reach us and they can't really throw anything at us effectively,
Fintred,
I think we can slow down.
Fintred is still running. He's like, gotta get away from these blasted things! I can't believe what's going on! And he gets 4, so he's like,
oh, wow.
So he's actually keeping his feet like remarkably well. He's just like straight up the stairs. Far more athletic than you would assume for a scribe, interestingly enough.
So I'm quite concerned about Sir James's casualness, and I'm quite trying to sort of hurry him along. Sir James, come on.
Oh, right. I agree. We'll go briskly, but not hell for leather, the same before. I'm a bit worried about tripping.
The ogres start to lose interest, and they start looking around, and unfortunately, they look in the direction the horses had run, push each other, and they start, just lumbering off after the horses. So we do not know what will happen to the horses if they manage to escape or not. I'll roll a destiny dice we'll find out. That first destiny dice was to see if they run away or after the horses. This next destiny dice is to see what happens to the horses. We shall find out.
Thank goodness they're fine.
I rolled a 3.
Oh my god.
That's for the ogres. That's for the ogres, isn't it?
No, so destiny always relates to what the players want. Low results in something, unfortunately, negative towards what the player's desired outcome. And I know Sir James certainly didn't want his horses injured, but unfortunately I rolled a 3. And so as you are climbing up the stairs, you hear cries of pain from the woodland of horses.
I'm going back down the stairs with my sword drawn.
Oh no.
So Sir James hears this and is greatly distressed. Talon is behind you, and so Talon, you have a Sir James trying to pass you.
Well, so I have 2 vested interests here. One is Sir James and his connections that he brings, and the other is the fact that I've got stock still on my pony. So I start following him.
So you're going back down to the ogres?
Yeah.
All right. Alethea, you have 2 people trying to pass you back down the stairs.
Yes. Shouldn't we inform the people in the castle? Perhaps they might help us. That's what I say.
Well,
Yes, call for help. Call for help. Quickly.
I'm just barreling back down the stairs again. I'm not going to leave my
William, come along.
You-
Stop dilly-dallying. Aelithir, get help as quickly as possible.
You hear another cry of pain, and Sir James, I need you to make a perception check. I'll roll for you. It's 3 + 2 + 1. All right. So I got a 4. A 4. That, as you hear the cry of pain, whinnied out. Is that the term when a horse whinnies? Is that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
and suddenly is cut off to silence. And you know, as heartbreaking that is, that was death. And the horse's cries have ceased.
Right. Okay.
Let's
I
lunge.
will stop running down the stairs then and
Lunch.
be upset. Do I need to roll an emotion dice?
You get to choose how your character reacts emotionally. If you're trying to control your emotions, which actually requires some effort, then I can roll a dice. But it depends if you're.
No, I'm just going to wish my warhorse luck on the next part of its journey and tell him and shout something lovely after him, like "You did well, thank you, and I will see you on the plains of Elysium next time."
So,
And I
heartbroken.
salute
Heartbroken
him.
is right. And Talon, what's your response? Because that was half of your stock, you're assuming.
Well, so part of me still wanting to go after it, but the thing is, I was very happy to go when Sir James was going in the same direction. Now that he has stopped going in that direction, I'm far less inclined to keep going. I'm certainly not going to go by myself. So I'm sort of standing there, wrestling with my internal emotions of wanting to go and safeguard my stock. I don't give a damn about the pony. I'm just worried about what's on it. I can't go alone. Well, I can't go by myself. What can I do? So I'm standing there looking troubled and torn.
William, you noticed behind you that there was some kerfuffle there. So James started running in the opposite direction, and then Talon is now confused. You did hear what was going on with the horses and the death cries, and so you can ascertain that it's like, horses are now dead.
I've always found it remarkable just how fast you can go up a winding stone staircase when there are arrows being shot about the place and ogres chasing you. It's an amazing thing, but every time.
So horses, I haven't even registered them.
I did save the life of one Destria, probably. So there's that.
I'm just terribly depressed. I'm just going to sit down on the steps and hold my head in my hands. And
do I know which was his favorite Destria? Did he have a favorite?
I'm assuming he loved both equally.
Oh,
yes, but
love two. No, ridiculous. That's like saying you love two of your children equally.
Which is absolutely true. So James has sat down in remorse. As you look up, you notice
50. 4, 5, 6. I've saved your favorite one. 1. Sorry, that was your favorite one.
So Sir James is his heart, like truly heartbroken. This is like losing a loved one for him. And Talon is not sure what's going. But you hear a voice call out, going, "Oi, get on here quick! Get on here! We've got the door, get in before the creatures get ya!" And as you look up, the door to the watchtower is open.
I'm going to come to my feet and sort of resignedly sort of trudge back up the stairs and say, we must keep going in spite of adversity. Our fellow warriors will pass on the battlefield, and this is the fate of many of us. We will probably die horribly shortly, but for the moment, we must go on.
Sir James, you are a wise man. I think you're right this time.
Taking heart, the heroes venture up the stairs the remaining way, and they are welcomed into the watchtower, met by what looks to be 5 soldiers, men-at-arms. And they close the door behind you as you make your way in one at a time, and they are looking distraught, haggard, and but also breathing somewhat with relief. And they're about to explain certain things to you. And you will relate your tale and find out what is happening. But right there is about the time where we shall end this session and find out because why did they shoot upon the boat and then seemingly protect you? And what is going on? You are now safely in the Cragway Watchtower. And that is the end of this leg of our adventure here in the Curse of Silverthorn. Thank you for joining us, everyone, and also thank you very much to our wonderful players for joining us as well. It's been tremendous fun. Is there anything anyone would like to say before we sign off?
I'm just very sad. I'm very, very sad.
I'm sorry, James. It was the roll of the dice. What can I say?
I
You
think
won't have to clean that spear.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Oh, he lost
ogres
the
are-
spear. He lost it a long time ago.
I reckon ogres are Muppet. That's what I want to say. Muppets.